Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Double Clutch Podcast. Your wonderful host here. Uh, hope you all had a good week. Hope you all are ready for the weekend. I know I'm ready for the weekend, even though it wasn't exactly a long week or a hard week. It was just the weekend. Everybody looks forward to the weekend. You know, you get to go home and fucking hang out, do some stuff around the house or whatever. I guess you're just going home to do more work. You're never fucking you're never fucking done doing stuff. Hey, buddy, you went the wrong way there. You just went the wrong way. We're the cops when you fucking need them. But yeah, I mean, I'll probably go home and just relax a bit. Maybe watch a couple of the games I recorded, football games I recorded over the week that I know I couldn't watch. You know, might go down, see some family, something like that. Not gonna do a whole lot this weekend. It's only 2 fucking days. 7 days in a week, and you get 2 of them to yourself, if that. And half the time, at least one of those days, you're fucking doing something around the house or whatever. You know, oh, got to mow the yard. Oh, got to do this. Got to do that. Luckily, we'll be in winter months here soon. Mowing the yard will be a thing of the past for at least 4 to 6 months, depending on what kind of winter we have up here. But yeah, I'll probably go down, pack up all the children, go down and see my mom and my sister. You know, that's I think that's the thing that a lot of people will do is they'll go see their families and shit when they have the time off, unless you hate your family, which I mean, I understand. I have a couple people, you know, my family that I don't talk to at all, and not for the reasons that some may think. You know, not like anybody tried to steal from me or you know screwed me over or anything. They're just too good for us. They're very I don't know what the word is, rich. I should say they're a little too rich for me. You know, some of them have that better than thou attitude. You know, they're like, oh, I remember when I first became a truck driver. They're like, oh, you're a truck driver. Like, yeah. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And it's like, that was it. There's like, oh, congratulations. No congratulations or anything. You know, just like, oh, cool. We uh, we own a business and make fucking $600,000 a year. How are you gonna survive with you and 3 fucking kids? Well, you know what? I make it fucking work. So, you know, whatever. But now my immediate family, they were all happy about it. They were all happy about it. Oh, congratulations, good job. All the good stuff. But some people you just can't impress. When somebody gets to a point where they're literally, you know, way ahead of the game, way ahead of the game. You know, they never have to worry about money. They never have to worry about shit breaking because they can be like, oh, well, I'll just pay someone to fix it. Or maybe they can fix it themselves. Because there's some people that are like that, too. They know how to fix fucking everything. So they're not even spending their money. They're just kind of sitting on it. You know, they'll be able to retire when they're, you know, 45 or 50, which would be nice. I would love that. But I unfortunately will have to wait until I'm 60-something, 65 or 67. Or maybe 70, because they'll probably change the goddamn retirement age by the time I get there. Just like Social Security probably won't be a thing. So I guess I should start making some moves now to make sure that I don't have to work until I'm 85. Not that I'm probably gonna live till I'm 85. I mean, let's be honest here. That's that's a whole nother 55 years away, 54 years, or yeah, 54 years away from me. Do I really think I'm gonna be around for another 54 years? I might. I might. I wouldn't. I wouldn't you know, really put money on it or anything like that. I mean, you know, my grandfather's still alive. He's 73 or 74. He's doing all right. My dad's 56, 55, 55 or 56. I think he's 55. Yeah, but he's doing all right now. I mean, he wasn't at one point. I mean, he had cancer, so I mean, there's a time where we thought he was going to die, but he didn't. He got through it. Stage 4 cancer. Stage 4 cancer in the throat. And he fucked cancer right in the ass. Yeah, he still gets his regular scans and shit like that. And, yeah, I'm sure he had a little more willpower because now he had grandkids to be around. And right when he got it, my wife was pregnant with our first child. Now he had children from there. He had grandchildren from my brother, and they were all pretty much, I mean, a little older, still kids. But he found out I was having a kid, and he was just like, ah, now I gotta stick around. Not that I don't think he would have just given up. I highly doubt that. But yeah, it was a scary fucking time. That was a real scary time. It sucks, man, when you see that, when you see like the radiation and the chemo and shit actually take effect on somebody. Like my dad is fucking 6'2", 6'3", 250 pounds, and see him go from that to like the guy worked construction his whole life, so he was a big guy. But then you see him go from that, within a matter of months, he goes down to fucking 135 pounds or whatever. Ugh. I think that's what his lowest was, 135 or 145. Which for someone who's 6'2", 6'3" or whatever, that's, you can tell, man. You can tell, especially with him. He was a big guy. He wasn't like a fat guy. He had a belly on him, but like I said, he worked construction his entire fucking life, so he was basically lifting cinder blocks from the time he was 8 years old, because my grandfather used him as cheap labor. So, he was hauling fucking cases of fucking shingles up on roofs when he was 10. So, he wasn't a weak guy, but, when you see that, it's like, fuck, man. That's crazy to see how much that, I mean, I guess it worked. He gets his scans every 6 months or whatever, and he's fine. I think it's a year now. I don't even think he goes back every 6 months. I think he might be a year. He might still go back every 6 months. I don't fucking know. But he does them, and he does all right. He doesn't smoke anymore. And he used to smoke Newports. Jesus Christ, man. Those fucking cigarettes. I mean, every cigarette is fucking bad for you. There's no safe cigarette. It says it right on the fucking box. There's no safe cigarette, but goddamn, man, those Newports. If I were to smoke a Newport, I would be laid up for like at least an hour because how bad it hurts my throat. My lungs just takes all the oxygen away. Those things are so rough. Anything menthol is rough to me, I feel, but yeah, he used to smoke them fucking Newports, man, and he didn't smoke like a shit ton. Yeah, it wasn't like a fucking 3-pack a day person, but yeah, and then found out about that. They found it because they had a lump on his tongue. This motherfucker knew about this lump for 8 years. 8 years. He fucking just let it go, until it was like the final straw. And my stepmom was super mad at him for it because it like blew up in his mouth or something like that. It was something nasty. I can't remember how he explained it to me, but he went to the fucking doctors and they're like, yep, that's the big C. And I did all the surgeries and whatnot, and they cut him open like fucking Predator. It was wild when I saw him after surgery. That was insane. And it's crazy because this happened like literally within like a year of my grandfather dying, which kind of blew my mind how that kind of timed out. But yeah, he's all good now. He's up to his normal weight now. He keeps going for his scans and everything's all right. And I see that and I'm like, fuck, man, those 50 years old, that's young to get that shit. But then I look at my grandfather on my mom's side, and that fucking guy, he was a heroin addict for 30 years. 30 years that guy was a heroin addict. Once he got out of Vietnam, he was a heroin addict for 30 years. Alcoholic, all that shit. Fucking, he smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day. And then about, 20-some years ago, when he was 50, so 23 years ago, he was 50 years old is when he stopped doing heroin. That's when he quit doing heroin. So he's been clean for 23 years. But he still smoked, 3 packs of cigarettes a day for, years and years, up until I think about 7 or 8 years ago. So sometime in his 60s is when he quit smoking cigarettes. And he got all in shape and stuff like that. He lost a lot of weight. Got on I think he's vegan now too. I believe he doesn't eat any meat. But that motherfucker, he goes to the doctor and he's fine. He's fucking fine. Nope, yep, you're perfect. You're perfect, man. I'm like, I don't get that. I mean, it's just, I mean, it must be genes. Maybe the heroin fucking preserved him like a goddamn mummy, for all those years. But I feel like doing that much heroin for 30 years would have a negative effect on you. You know what I mean? In this case, it seems like it had a positive effect so long as you didn't overdose. Because he fucking, like you said, just preserved him. I don't understand that. That's terrifying. It's not a good fucking thing if people know that you do heroin and you'll be young forever. Like, that's wild. But I mean, he also then found Jesus and became very, very religious, which was a little absurd. But, I mean, I guess after the shit the shit he's been through, I guess you could do that. I guess that'll do it to you. You go to the doctor and you're fucking all good. Everything's fine after doing nothing but fucking toxic shit and chemicals for the last, 50 some years of your life, and you're still alive and kicking at 73, 74 years old. I mean, I guess that's a reason to start going religious. The only issue was at first he was very like pushy with it. He was so pushy with his religion, man. To the point where him and my one cousin didn't even talk for like a while. You know what I mean? I don't know how long a while. Maybe like a year or something like that. But my cousin, he's one of them, science prevails guys. And he's like, there's no science behind Jesus. So he doesn't believe none of it. I mean, I don't really believe none of it either. I'm not a religious person. I don't fucking throw it all out, but it's just, it's very hard to believe something when there's no proof. Like, there isn't really proof. It's just whatever somebody wrote down in a book. So I get that. And that's how my cousin feels about it, and he definitely lets him know about it. He's just like, oh, God was looking down upon you, and my cousin's just like, nah, I actually worked my ass off for it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't just get it handed to me. And, it's a good fucking point. That's a good fucking point. That's why I'm not going to I don't go to church. I don't pray. When my first son was born, my wife's mother, my mother-in-law, said to me, you should really start going to church and get a religious aspect in his life. I said, no. She's like, well, it's really good for them to have that surrounding, or that kind of presence around them. I'm like, is it though? I mean, I went to church from the time I was a kid until I was like 10 years old, so whenever my aunt died, and I'm not exactly a saint. I don't, and I'm like, and for me to just start going to church just because I have a kid, that's so hypocritical. Like, why would I'm not just going to start going to church. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to start going in this building and listening to these people preach about something I really don't believe in just because so my kid can have a religious upbringing. Now I said to her, I'm like, if you wanted to take him to church, you could. I wouldn't be upset about that. I mean, that's what happened to me when I was a kid. My parents got 2 to 3 hours of kid free time because I was at church. You know what I mean? So if she wanted to take him to church, she could, but she doesn't go to church either. Now my father-in-law, my wife's dad, he goes to church. He goes to church every Sunday. He's also kind of one of those born-again kind of guys, like my grandfather was. He just kind of started going to church one day. And it just, I don't know. And here's the thing, I went to church. We went to like an Easter thing, an Easter Mass or whatever. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But we went there, and it was Easter. And fucking the way these people were acting in there was just, it terrified me. It was so cult-like. I don't remember any of that from when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I didn't pay that much attention. I knew everybody stood up and sang. Everybody just listened to the preacher. In this church, man, people were talking. People were like, and it freaked me out so bad because we went there, and it was Easter, so everybody in the crowd, everybody was sitting in the pews, and they're like, he is risen, he is risen, he is risen, he is risen. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? It was scaring the shit out of me. So, we're going and doing the Easter Mass or whatever. Some guy who is very old, not very, he's on his way out. Like, he's not the best of his years are behind him. He was saying how he wanted to start off this song, and he came up front in front of everybody and like started singing, then stopped, and the organist stopped, and it was just so awkward. And then the thing that really got me was uh, they had a kids corner thing, like the kids. And I remember this as a kid. All the kids would go up to the front, and he would talk. The pastor would talk to the children like as a group, as just a group of kids, and they brought all these kids up, and he was discussing this book, and it was called God's Good Idea, I believe is what it called. God's Great Plan, or God's Good. I think it was God's Good Idea is what it was called. And when he started talking, I was just like, when I heard them talking to these kids, because I was right up at the front, because that's where her dad sits, and that's where we went, and I was like, fuck. But he was talking to these kids, and I could hear everything. He doesn't talk over the microphone or whatever to everybody. He's just talking to the kids. And the kids were sitting there, and he's reading this book to them, and it was like God's Good Idea. And it started naming God's Good Idea, which was, peace, love, and world, and all that shit, I guess. But he gets to this part, he goes, God's Good Idea was better than x-ray machines. It was better than what else was it? It was like x-ray machines. It was better than this. It was better than satellites. It was better than electricity. And I'm like, man, those are good fucking ideas, dude. Like, those were all pretty good ideas. That x-ray machine was a pretty good fucking idea. I don't think his plan was any better than that. You know what I mean? I don't understand. Like, it was so brainwashing to these kids. I feel like they were brainwashing him, and it made me sick to my stomach. I was like, oh my God. I just had to stop paying attention after that. Once I heard him say it was better than x-ray machines, I was like, I'm out. X-ray machines. If I broke my fucking leg, is God gonna just, be like, oh, it's broken? Well, how do you know? Oh, I just know. Like, I have to take his fucking word for it? I mean, I guess if the case was that, I guess he would just fucking heal my leg, because he's the almighty, all-powerful one. So I guess that's what they were getting at there. But it just felt very awkward to me. It felt, like I said, it felt very cult-like, and then some lady came up to sing a song, and the name of the song was called Thank You for the Blood. Thank You for the Blood. And I'm like, oh boy. And I'm in the front row here. It's like I'm in the front row at a concert, Christian rock concert, and she's just in front of me, and I'm trying not to smile. I'm smiling now just thinking about it. But, like, she's right in front of me and my wife, my father-in-law, and she's just like, thank you for the blood, and staring directly in my eyes. Like, just, I could feel her peering into my soul. It scared the shit out of me, but it was so awkward. And I told my wife when we left there, I was like, I never want to do that again. I never want to do that again. If you and the kids want to go, you go right ahead, but I don't ever want to do that again. That was nothing. That was nothing like it was when I was a kid. Granted, oh, okay, you dick. Go right ahead. But, granted, when I was a kid, I didn't pay attention much. I don't remember much of it. So, maybe there was some weird shit that happened. I don't know. All I remember is, Sunday school being just as bad as regular school. Because I'd go down there and all these kids would still make fun of me. We were in church and these kids would still make fun of me. So, yeah, I guess I kind of did block out a lot of fucking church memories because it wasn't exactly the best for me. But, I mean, Jesus Christ, I go to school all week and get made fun of there. And then what? I got one day off on Saturday and then Sunday up, right back to getting made fun of for a little bit. I'm like, fucking Christ. Yeah, there I am. I'm saying the Lord's name in vain. That's how much that upsets me. All those good Christian kids being nice to you, I don't fucking think so. But yeah, that's why I won't go to church. I won't go to church. There's no reason for me to start going to church. I don't know. It's not my thing. My wife's mom, she teaches she taught my son like the bedtime prayer, like the now I lay me down to sleep thing. Which he'll say every now and then, but not really anymore. It's just the same thing I did when I was a kid. Hopefully he doesn't fuck him up, and he goes down the same path as I did. He's a little younger than me, though. I don't. He probably won't remember any of it. I barely remember any of it. Like I said, I don't remember anything from going to church, but I know I went every goddamn Sunday from for at least 9 years. You know, I mean, I don't know. And another thing I don't that I'm not a big fan of church for is another reason I'm not a big fan of church is because around here we have this hospital called Holy Spirit Hospital. It's located in Camp Hill, and they say they're all religious and they pray to you at night and shit like that. That hospital is a piece of shit. That hospital is a piece of fucking shit. You know, my aunt was there when she was in the hospital, and I think I've told you guys about it before, but they basically made her their guinea pig for all these new drugs. And whenever my grandfather said, "You're done pumping her full of pills," they were like, "Well, you need to get her out of here then." I was like, "Ah, yes. The power of Jesus flowing through your veins." Right there, I was like, all right, well, fuck that place. And I just always hear bad stuff about it. So, you know, that it's religion and Holy Spirit Hospital. They're out of question for me. So they're not. That's nothing against the doctors there. I'm sure there are some good doctors there, but you can't. You should be separating that fucking religion from your actual medical services that you're giving. You know what I mean? You can't fucking. Don't worry, Jesus will do the rest of the healing. No, he won't. He won't. That's why I'm in the hospital. You know. But same thing when it comes to the government. Everyone's always incorporating religion and shit into the government. And I'm pretty sure there's a thing called separation of church and state, which that has long gone out the window because everyone thinks as soon as they hear so-and-so is a good Christian person, they're like, oh, well, he's a good person. No, he's not. He's just saying that so you dumb masses will just continue to follow him without any kind of question. That bugs me. That bugs me so much. I've seen enough religion in my day to know that it's not all good. Yeah, I get it. The basic premise behind religion is good. But, oh, come on, man. Shut up. But the people who practice it don't always practice what they preach. They're gonna say a few words in a book, and then they're gonna be like, yep, well, I'm going to heaven. No, you're probably not. I mean, let's be honest. Like 60% of people that go to church more than likely are not going to go to heaven. If there is a heaven, they're not getting in. Because outside of church, they're a cunt. So why, there's no guarantee that you just going to church is going to send you to heaven. Dude, even in my work, they have this thing on like a bulletin board, like somebody just, cut it out of a magazine and put it on the wall. And it was like 7 things that will not guarantee your approval into heaven. And one was like going to church every day, donating money, doing this, doing that, like a bunch of stuff that like most people will probably do at some point in their life. It's like, come on, man. How much of a stickler do you got to be just to get into fucking heaven? You mean I can't get into heaven now because I had sex before I was married? I can't get into heaven because, I smoked a little weed back in the day? I can't get into heaven because I fucking, just some dumb fucking reason? And I mean, if you read the goddamn Bible, it's not, those are great words to put together, goddamn Bible. If you read the thing, there's other shit that nobody pays attention to. Everyone's like, oh, that doesn't count. Like the wearing of 2 different cloths and the eating of shellfish and whatnot. That kind of shit. Everyone's just like, no. But, fucking gay marriage or stuff like that, they'll fucking kick you right out. What? You got married to another man and you're a man? Boom! Down the hell you go. And then what? You gotta deal with Satan. What's he gonna do? I'm gonna fuck you in the ass with this fucking 11-inch and he's gonna You know, if it's a bunch of gay people down there, they're going to be like, yes, queen, fucking, they're not going to give a shit. Yeah, I mean, so maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what it's all about. I can't do religion. I can't do it. Yet here I am talking about it for about 20 fucking minutes. Like like I have some kind of degree in religion. And I don't. I'm just speaking off the experiences I have and how uncomfortable they made me feel. I mean, my buddy went to a fucking Catholic high school, and that guy, I know a couple people that went to a Catholic high school. One of them's a comedian, okay? One of them works with me and is pretty, he's all there, but that boy, man, his head was messed with. And then another girl I know that went to a Catholic school, the same Catholic school, the only Catholic school in my area, I believe. Well, I guess there's two, but she went to like regular public school after she got out of there for like 2 or 3 years, and she was taking dick like a porn star. So it's not like you send your kids to these schools, they're gonna grow up to be better people. That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. It all depends on what kind of person they are and the people they hang out with and shit like that. And if everybody goes to these schools, these religious schools, you think everybody's going to be a good Christian boy or a good Christian girl or Catholic or whatever the fucking religion, that school is based off of? It's all a big cult to me. It's all a big cult, and they get taxed. They get their taxes. They don't have to pay taxes. It's a giant cult that doesn't have to pay taxes on their fucking church that's the size of a medium to large high school. They just built a church a couple years ago where I used to live down there, and this motherfucker is like a stadium. It's like Joel Osteen's fucking stadium of a church, and they don't gotta pay fucking taxes for it. They don't gotta pay anything for it. Just besides their regular bills and shit. I remember, which I understand that they gotta pay bills. That's cool. They gotta pay bills. They pass that fucking dish around every Sunday, and people put a whole bunch of money in it. And who knows however much of it's actually going to that, but, I don't know. I'm not in the fucking board of directors of the church, so what they're doing is, beyond my knowledge. But I don't know. I just see that, and I'm just like, man, it's kind of ridiculous. It's a little bit ridiculous, but I'm also not going to give them too much shit because they're not exactly a profiting business, they say. They have bake sales to get new fucking CRT TVs for their Sunday school kids, so I'm not going to shit on them, but I still believe it's a cult. I still believe it's something that somebody literally talks you into, and then after a while, you just get brainwashed into it. You start not making decisions based on how you think about the things. Instead, you make your decisions how would God feel about this? Would Jesus approve? I mean, fuck, they had bracelets that said, what would Jesus do? When I was a kid, everybody had those bracelets that said WWJD on it. And we're like, we don't know. What would Jesus do? For all we know. I mean, the guy was a fucking carpenter, wasn't he? That guy was probably at the bar every goddamn night chasing tail, staying up till fucking 2 in the morning, doing lines of blow off the fucking ass cheeks of hookers. And then he'd wake up in the morning and go back to work. Nobody knows this. Nobody was around in fucking the fucking BC era. At least not us. Not anybody living today was around in that area. So we'll just go off these books that people write, that they revise every fucking so many years. Once racial tensions get high, they're like, hey, maybe we should take that part out of the Bible where it says you can beat your slave and shit like that. Maybe we should take that out just to be along with the times. But we'll still believe it, though. We'll still believe it, but it just won't be there. And we'll just tell the new recruits whenever they come in, what really goes on. You know, it's I don't know. It's like the Wild West, man, when it comes to fucking religion. They all hate each other, and that's what a lot of wars were fought over, was just religion. It's a powerful thing. And I think that's why it's found its way into our government like that, because the government knows they can persuade people pretty fucking easily when they say, I'm a Christian man, and all these other Christians are like, oh, well, it's a no-brainer. Vote for this guy. But I don't know. It's wild, man. I can't stress enough how much I'm not a fan of religion, and it's a lot of religions. Most religions, probably all religions, I'm not a big fan of. Everybody says Buddhism is good, and what's the other one? I can't remember. They say there's a couple good religions that doesn't involve owning slaves or crucifixion. You know, that are very easy to live by. But I just find it ridiculous that we already have a set of rules outside of religion that we have to follow. We already have laws and regulations put into place to keep people from being pieces of shit. But now I also have to remember these 10 to 15 other imaginary ones that this guy said 2,500 years ago that we should follow if we want to be on the path of righteousness. It's like a lot of those are already incorporated. You know, the not murdering, the not coveting of the neighbor's wife and shit like that. You know, they're actual laws. It's called homicide. You go to jail for life for that. Rape, you go to jail for life for that. You know what I mean? That's just not. It's basically what they should say is just number one. Don't be an asshole. Don't be a fucking asshole, and you'll get into heaven. But according to that thing I saw at work, it's going to take more than that to not get into to get into heaven. Guess you got to pray every day and thank Jesus for all the stuff that you worked so hard to get. Because, you know, wouldn't have been possible without him. That college degree had nothing to do with it, man. The fact that you worked your ass off and made your way up that company ladder, that was Jesus, man. Jesus helped you do that. You were just a small fraction. All them student loans that you got to pay off, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt you are now just so you can become a doctor, Jesus helped you do that. It wasn't your hard work and studying. It was all Jesus. You know, after this conversation, I am almost positive that if there is a heaven and hell, I am burning. I am burning so bad. I'm going to burn so bad. I'm going to be chained up to a fucking rock wall, and I'm going to be whipped with a fucking thorn rose whip, and then I'm going to be fucked in the ass with a goddamn molten lava corkscrew, and they're going to chop my head off, and I'm going to wake up again the next day, and I'm going to be the same thing all over again. I don't know. I think I'm all right with that. I think I'm all right. Maybe I just come to terms with the fact that I'm going to burn in hell? I think I did. I think I'm all right with that. Well, we'll see. We'll find out. You know, it's a shame that nobody really knows if that is a true thing. If heaven and hell really does exist. I mean, there's people that say that they've died and come back and said, I saw Jesus. He said it wasn't my time. And then there's other people that have said it, and then they're just like, it's like nothingness. It's just black. It's like I'm sleeping, but I'm not going to wake up. And, I mean, that one seems more plausible to me. You know what I mean? I don't know. I believe more in reincarnation than I do in fucking, like, heaven and hell. Just fucking die, and all of a sudden your fucking soul and spirit go into a fucking cockroach. And now what? You're fucking in the fucking atomic apocalypse because we had nuclear war. And you're just the only thing still crawling around because you're the only thing that can survive that nuclear winter. trudging along in some rotted down basement. I don't know. I don't know. No, and no one will know. No one will. I don't think anybody's gonna know. And if somebody does know, they're not gonna tell that secret. No way. Because for one, if it was real, there would be like mass hysteria. People, they had proof of it. They would be fucking, look at it, it's real, and they would fucking, that would change the world. The world would fucking change if they had proof that heaven existed. If there was a such thing as heaven and hell, if there was such a thing, it would change the entire world because people would stop murdering, people would stop fucking, fucking people in their sleep. That would change, well, maybe not everybody, but most people, it would change most of the world. I mean, if somebody came up to me and was just like, hey, here's the door to heaven, you know what I mean? I look in there, and it's just a fucking party, everything's great, and then they're like, well, here's the door to hell, and there's just people strapped up with fucking 2x4s stuffed in their ass cheeks. I'd probably be like, okay, well, I guess it's time for me to change my ways. Hey, Lord, it's all about forgiveness, right? You know what I mean? I pray for your forgiveness. I would more than likely fucking change my attitude real quick. This would become another one of those fucking AM radio podcasts where all I do is talk about the Lord. I'd be reading excerpts from the fucking Bible like it was my journal. So, I feel like something like that would change the world. And probably for the better, I mean, let's be honest. But if they also knew that it wasn't real, they wouldn't tell anybody about that. If they told people that, if they're like, hey, we have proof that it's not real. We have real hard proof that heaven and hell does not exist. They wouldn't tell anybody that. Because all them fucking politicians that rely on religion to get those votes, they wouldn't get those votes anymore. People would start thinking for themselves. Not only that, a lot of people that do go to church on a daily basis and strive to be a good person and take pride in that are going to be like, well, fuck this. So long as they're not that brainwashed. But even still, they'll be like, if they had that hardened proof like that, they would probably fucking, oh, fuck this. I'm going to get in a hooker and some smack tonight, and I'm going to fucking shoot up while she fucking tonsil hockeys my flaccid dick. That would probably ruin the fucking world. So, I guess where we stand now, it's probably a good thing we have religion. Because one way or another, it does keep some kind of check and balance in the world. Now that I actually put some thought into that. I can't believe that. All that stuff, just because some people believe in a floating guy in the sky, guy's always sitting on a cloud watching you. People don't do shitty things. And the sad thing is, a lot of people still do shitty things. A lot of people still believe that there's a guy watching them, and they'll still do shitty things. I mean, look at the Catholic Church. Come on, man. That's fucking pedophile central right there. That fucking, that's the Epstein island of fucking pedophilia when it comes to religion, man. They're fucking, they preach it all and everything, but maybe they just don't believe it. Maybe they have that proof that it's not real, and they're just like, well, we'll just keep feeding the masses, and I'll keep doing what I'm doing. They're gonna keep telling you that God is great, God is good, He's watching over you, but then they're gonna go behind that fucking door, and then they're gonna go and fuck a kid. So right there, that's another reason why I can't deal with religion. The Catholic, man, they're fucking. Some people are so hard up in that, because that's a major religion, and even after all that, even after fucking molestation case after molestation case, they're just to them they're just like, oh, it's just child sex abuse. They'll still get into heaven. Fuck you. I don't deal with that. That don't sit right with me. Especially now that I have kids. I don't give a fuck who it was. Somebody was, trying to touch my kid like that, I would break their fingers. And I'd shove them all up in their asshole. How do you like it, motherfucker? How about I fuck you in the ass? See how you feel. You know? I get it probably happened to them when they were kids. They probably think it's a normal part of life. It's sad. Just another reason why people shouldn't take religion so seriously, though. Those people still act like they're going to heaven. They still think that God's going to welcome them with open arms. I don't fucking think so. And if he does, well, fucking shame on him then. What kind of asshole, approves of that? What kind of fucking God is like, oh yeah, go ahead. Go right ahead and fuck those kids. That's fine with me. You're still getting in. Just don't let the gay guys get married. Fucking ridiculous. Tell me that bullshit. I don't want to hear none of that. But yeah, I can't. I will not. What was the point of all this? Me having to take my kid to church because my wife's mom said so. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And all that right there was one big fucking 40-minute reason why. That right there is why I'm not going to do it. It's just not something I can believe in. Not something that, I'll stick with the science just like a lot of other people. I'm not going to make the excuse that God was looking out for me. I'm pretty sure I busted my ass to do whatever I needed to do there. But, hey, to each his own. If you want to be religious, go right ahead. Just don't shove it down my throat like a lot of people will do. Don't act like you're a better person than me, because you're not. You're fucking not. You're the same guy. You're the same fucking guy who does what I do. You're taking your dumps. And you're fucking, unless you only fuck for procreation, which would be just absurd. I have a feeling that once you stuck it in the first time, whether or not you waited till you were married or not, I have a feeling when you both did that the first time, you were like, oh man, we can do this without procreation, right? I mean, 7 kids is a lot. But you could be one of those people that have 3 kids and you only had sex 3 times in your life. Whatever. You're still not a better person than the next. At least in my opinion. All right, let's talk about something else here. Let's stop shitting on our Lord and Savior now. I'm sure if he's up there, he's not appreciating what I'm saying right now. But I found, for those of you who don't know, I'm a pretty big fan of stand-up comedy. I do watch a lot of stand-up. I watch a lot of their podcasts. The obvious ones like Joe Rogan, and I like Your Mom's House podcast, The Honeydew. Bill Burr, his Monday morning podcast, which I've taken a lot of inspiration from his podcast, just because he's predominantly a solo act, which is what I am. I don't have anybody here to talk with me or talk to about anything. Plus, I don't have famous guests or anything like that. So there's not like there's anything really interesting to talk to any of my coworkers about, really. We just be talking about the same shit I talk about. But I take a lot of inspiration from that because, like I say, he's predominantly a solo act. That's how I roll here. So, not that I have a fraction of the talent he does. The guy's been doing this for 30 fucking years, talking to himself basically. So of course he's much better off than I am. But I found a new comedian. That I like, who I never heard of. I'd never heard of this guy, and I actually saw him on one of Joe Rogan's podcasts. His name is Tim Dillon. This dude is fucking hilarious, and he also has a podcast where he's very smart. He's very politically engaged. So I know shit. Like a lot of the shit that I know, politically, I know from just listening to his podcast and shit, and his fucking, just him talking about stuff. But I watched some of his stand-up, man, and god damn it, he is fucking funny. Oh, fucking really? Are you guys serious? Y'all could fucking pass me here if you just let me over. Yeah, I see you. But, Yeah, I was listening to his fucking stand-up, watching some of his stand-up on YouTube the other day. It is so funny. He is so fucking hilarious. After watching that shit, he instantly made it up into like my top 5 uh, comedians because that guy knows how to make me laugh. Him and Bill Burr, Tom Segura, you know, they're some of my favorites right there. You know, of course, I like, George Carlin. Obviously, he's no longer with us, but his stuff, and then I like Louis C.K. He's very it's almost controversial to say that you like Louis C.K., but he's funny. He's good stand-up. I like him. I like Jim Jeffries. There's stand-up comedy was a big deal to me back in my early 20s and shit because I was just I was I was a shit person, just living a shit life, and it was a way to make me laugh and stuff. So that's how I got my laughs in. Well, that and I worked with some dumb people too. We always laughed then too, but that was one of the things that kind of, I don't want to say saved me because I wasn't suicidal, but it definitely it was definitely something that I looked forward to whenever I saw a new stand-up special come out, or a new, or even seeing a new comedian. Which most of these guys I've watched since the beginning, as far as my stand-up comedy roots go back, which I started watching stand-up as like a 10-year-old on Comedy Central. Premium Blend was out, and when we had HBO, we had that. What is that? One Night Stand or whatever. It was a big deal to me. So when I saw stand-up comedy was one of those, it was a big influence on me. And it was something that I wanted to try and do. But I also realized that I am socially fucking awkward, man. I have the worst like social anxiety ever. And when it's small crowds of people, it's whatever. But like I couldn't go up on a stage. I mean, I'm sure if I tried it, I could, but I couldn't. I couldn't go up on a stage and not have like almost like a panic attack, just because all those people staring at you, waiting for you to be funny, and then you're not funny, and then they all boo you and shit. I couldn't. I've been. I've had enough of that shit as a child. I think I got fucked up as a kid, just not being able to say anything without people making fun of me, like in school and stuff. It still kind of haunts me a little bit, to where I don't think I could do that shit. I mean, even in a social like standpoint, where like if I'm at a concert or something like that, I had an anxiety attack at a concert. I was at the Chameleon Club in Lancaster. This is like 10 years ago now, but I was in line to give him my ticket and shit like that, and I like fucking fell over in the middle of the line. I'm like, what the fuck is happening to me? Like I didn't even realize it, and I was sweating and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? And my buddy had to drag me outside. I'm just like, he's like, what the fuck? I'm just like, I'm not confident, man. There's too many people. You know what I mean? And it was just fucking one of those things. And even when I was sitting there, people thought like I got too drunk or something. So people are talking shit as they're walking by, like, oh, somebody partied too hard. Blah, 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 blah. And again, that didn't help matters much. So I'm like, dude, I'm not fucked up. I'm just anxious or nervous. I don't know what's wrong with me. My buddy, he's a confident guy. He's a fucking, he beats people up for part of his living. You know what I mean? He's fucking certified MMA. That guy, he was about ready to beat people up, but can't really do that in the middle of Lancaster, I assume. But man, it was fucking, it just sucks. And like, I think about that. I think if I would have started doing shit like that earlier, maybe I could get by it, but I don't think I have the fucking balls to fucking do that now. I think I'm just going to start myself out slow, which is what this is for. This is how I'm getting my voice out right now, is through this podcast. I figure it's just something, like I said, I'm already doing something. I'm already at work. I'm not taking any time out of my day, really. It's very, very seldom that I'm actually sitting like somewhere and talking to you guys. I'm usually just driving the entire time. Every now and then when I pull into a customer or whatever, I'll sit there for a minute, finish whatever my conversation is, whatever little piece I'm working on, and I'll sit there and, talk, and then I'll end up either pausing it or ending it if it's in that time. But usually I'm just driving. I'm usually doing stuff, so it's not like it's a burden for me. The worst part is just thinking of stuff to talk about, and I usually just ramble. I start rambling, and then the same subject goes on for fucking hours. Well, not hours, but 40 minutes, like it just did. I just talked about religion for 45 fucking minutes almost. If I named these episodes, this one will just be called Religion. You know what I mean? Fortunately, I just date them and then put the fucking podcast name next to it. Then I upload it to YouTube. I wonder if I was even thinking about going to Spotify too. I got a Spotify account. I could fucking start uploading to there too. I think I might do that. I might start doing that also. So this might be the first episode to go up. Well, I'll put the other ones up too, but just have it all up on Spotify there too. Why not? Maybe people will download it. I can look and I could be like, what? Fucking 4 people downloaded this today? That would be amazing. Because as of right now, nobody's downloading it. I don't think I have any views. Now that I think about it, I don't really look at that stuff now. I don't really look at it because I know I'm not a person right now. I'm just kind of somebody there that's filling up their fucking bandwidth with, garbage. I'm nothing right now. So, I'm not exactly worried about what my fucking views are or anything like that. And even if I do become something, I'm still not going to be worried about views. Not like I'm going to do this to quit my job. I couldn't quit my job. Even if I became fucking famous off of this, I couldn't quit my job to just do the podcast full time. Because literally one of the main parts of this podcast is me being a truck driver. Me driving. Me being like, oh yeah, the weather's shitty. Oh, this fucking asshole can't drive. You know what I mean? That's one of the fucking, it's one of the concrete things about this podcast is that I'm doing this job while doing my job, my full-time job. It's not like I'm going to go drive around in my car and be like, yep, well, since I don't work anymore, I guess I'll fucking stop in here at Walmart, pick up some fucking milk and some eggs. Yeah, it ain't going to work like that. So regardless, if this becomes a successful podcast, I still can't quit my fucking job. Oh, I didn't think that one through very well, but fuck it. I didn't start doing it for the hopes of becoming famous. I just wanted to talk. I have nobody to talk to. I still have nobody to talk to. You might be listening. You might be sitting there fucking making fun of me, or you might be sitting there going, oh, this guy's got some good points. Probably not the latter, but hey, it's filling up my time. It makes that first trip of the day go by faster, or whatever trip I'm doing it on. Because sometimes I do them at night. Because sometimes it's just too busy outside, so much fucking traffic, and I do need to concentrate on the road too. I can't just not look at the fucking road. I gotta, it's a lot of shit mentally going on. I got a bunch of mental mumbo jumbo happening right now because, I'm still driving. I'm still looking in my mirrors. I'm still trying to make sure that the dude in front of me isn't going to slam on his brakes, all while thinking of a topic that you may or may not be interested in. But so far so good. So far I think I'm doing pretty well here. Like I said, I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit here. I know there was some weaker ones that I had. I know I had some stronger ones, but let's be honest, we're not very far into it right now either. Once I get like 100 episodes up, then I can talk. Then I can say, well, these ones are a little weaker, but this is a strong podcast right here. It's a strong conversation. I can't say that right now. I've had a total of 6, 7. Only had, so many. So this is, like I said, this is just me putting myself out there. I'm making myself vulnerable to all you internet people that could just go right on the comments and be like, you suck. You sound like a fucking douche. I bet your wife hates you. I could do a better podcast. So on and so forth. You know, the day that I get a comment, I'm going to read it and it's going to be garbage. And I'm going to be like, oh, man, and I'm going to fucking want to stop. But I'm not going to, because you ain't going to bring me down. Tougher than that. Tougher than you think. So we'll see how well this pans out. But so far, I'm enjoying myself. It's nice. It's nice just being able to fucking sit here and talk. You know, I don't have to worry about anybody fucking telling me what I can and cannot say. I just do it. You know, I'm sure maybe at some point somebody might be like, hey, you shouldn't say that, but that we'll get to that when it comes, if it comes. So I'm just going to continue to talk the shit that I normally talk and hope you guys like it. That's about it. You know, and if you don't like it, well, I'll just re-listen to them myself. I'll just become that fucking guy. Just be like, yeah, look how cool I am. You know, be so self-centered that I'm listening to my own podcast. Which, I mean, I do listen to it after I record it just to make sure that there's not too many fumbles. Because I can tell you my first one that I did, I know there's a lot of ums and a lot of you-knows and a lot of filler. A lot of filler of me just fucking going, and you being like, what the fuck, man? Did you not have public speaking in high school? We did. But guess what? I sucked at it because I didn't like being up in front of those people fucking sharing my book report that was only 2 paragraphs long while everybody else was up there for like 5 minutes because they made an actual 2-page report. You know, and they got all A pluses and I got like a C minus because I didn't do enough research. And any research I did, I pretty much just fucking plagiarized. Pretty much was just like, you know, he was born in such and such. The year he was born was such and such. Like, I just fucking switched words around. And I mean, they let you do that pretty much. That's basically what a book report is for you to do research and then write it on a piece of paper in your own words and turn it in and hope you get a decent grade for it. I've only gotten any fucking report that I ever did like that. I'm almost positive the highest grade I ever got was like a B minus. Because they were never good. They were never full of information. I mean, what book report is full of information when you could get it all on the internet or out of a book? At least back then it was out of books. Internet was not really in its infancy, but it was still pretty adolescent compared to what it is now. You know, so I do appreciate the fact that I got to still read books and shit. But nowadays, man, the book reports are just go on the fucking internet, look up what your fucking topic is, and basically write what that guy says or that person says down, and there's your book report. You know, it's not like you're writing a fucking thesis. You know, you're basically just plagiarizing. So I mean, yeah, that's my issue. That was my issue. I couldn't stand up in front of people. I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't like talking to them. I didn't like the people I went to school with, man. They were all most of them were shitty people. You know, and then I had to sit up there and stand in front of them and be like, you know, Abraham Lincoln was our 16th president. He had a beard. He was shot in the middle of a play at such and such, you know, by fucking John Wilkes Booth. You know what I mean? Like, shit that everybody pretty much know. He was born in 18 whatever. I didn't want to do that. Another reason why I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to write a thesis. I don't know how to write a thesis. I'm too stupid for that. I'm too stupid to write theses, whatever. I'm too stupid for college. I was too dumb for high school. Granted, I graduated, but you know, I can't say I was dumb because I know shit. You know, I did pay attention. I do know things. I know a lot of things, but I couldn't be bothered to do any of the work. I couldn't be bothered to do homework every day. Take that shit home with me? Fuck you. I don't want to. I couldn't be bothered to do it, so I didn't do it. And, you know, that left me with a garbage GPA, or whatever it is. And they had like class rankings and stuff like that, which really made me feel like shit because I went in, I got my fucking report card or whatever, and we have literally they're called class rank, I believe is what it's called, and I was like, out of my class, there's like 259 people in the class. I think I was like 240 fucking 5 or something like that. So I'm like, out of all these people in my class, I'm ranked like literally 14th from the bottom. And that didn't make me feel too good. That was a little shot to the confidence. I didn't do it. I was like, oh fuck it. Oh my god, I might as well stick with it. Might as well continue to be a dumb guy. And even though I wasn't dumb, I did pay attention. I did learn stuff. Just I wasn't bothered to do any of the homework, big reports, none of that shit. So that's how that worked out. School wasn't my strong suit. I can tell you that right now. But again, that's another reason why I probably didn't go to college either. I probably would have done the same thing. I would have failed out because I didn't want to do any of the work. And the work there is much harder. It's much more in in depth is what it is compared to fucking high school. High school is just like, well, if you don't get a good grade in high school, you can't get to a good college. Okay, well, how many of us actually just went to fucking community college? I mean, Christ. But I don't know. But I'm gonna end it here. I am stopped in here at my first stop of the day, fucking hour and 20 minutes away from my goddamn home. But you guys continue being beautiful, and I will talk to you again another day.